I have helped a lot of families move to Apex. I live here, I raised my twins here, and my background in financial services means I think about real estate not only as a place you're gonna live, but also as an investment. So when you're buying a home, I'm not just looking at what works for you today. I'm already thinking about whether I'm gonna wanna help you sell this house 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Is the house going to appreciate? Will it be an easy house to move from or to sell later on? That matters to me because most of my business, everything that doesn't come from YouTube, comes from referrals and repeat clients. That means if you're happy, I'm happy. In the next few minutes, I'm gonna walk you through what homes actually cost in Apex right now, what you need to know about the schools before you pick a neighborhood, how the commute looks, what a typical Saturday is like in Apex, and what the multi-billion-dollar development Viridia means for you and your home and your home's appreciation. By the end, you'll know whether Apex is the right town for you. Here we go. Hey everyone, I'm Heather Taylor, founder of Tailored Realty Group, where we create real estate experiences tailored to who? That's right, tailored to you. Let's start with the number one thing everyone wants to know. What do homes in Apex cost? Right now in Apex, the median home price for a single family resale home is right around $665,000. And for a single family new construction home, the median price is about $100,000 higher at $765,000. And if you want to dive deeper into market stats, check out my monthly market updates on this playlist. I'll put the link up there somewhere. I do this every month where I go deep on all of the market stats. Look, a runner. But here's the thing about Apex that many people don't fully understand until they actually start shopping. The median prices are only part of the story. What you actually get for that price is what matters, and this is where buyers run into their first surprise. A lot of people come to Apex or Cary, which is right next door, with a picture in their head. They want newer construction, they want a big yard, they want mature landscaping, and what they find is that at the median price point, those things don't always come together the way they expected. The newer construction in Apex tends to be on smaller, more cookie cutter lots. In fact, the average lot size for a new construction home under $800,000 in Apex is 0.15 acres. You get all the finishes, the fresh paint, everything's new, but the yard is the size of a postage stamp. In fact, you could probably share toilet paper with your neighbors, pros and cons. If you want a bigger lot with mature trees in a neighborhood where the street has a little bit more character, you're usually looking at an older home, and for a lot of families, once they actually walk both, they end up choosing the older home. Now, if you're someone who really can't make that trade-off, you need the big yard and the new construction and the reasonable price, I mean, reasonable being subjective, right? Somewhere around the median price point, you're probably going to end up going a little bit further out, somewhere like Holly Springs, Fuquay Varina, or Willow Springs. Let me give you a quick price tier breakdown for Apex listings so that you know what you're working with. If you're looking at listings under $550,000 in Apex, 85% of those listings are townhomes or condos, or if they're single family homes, they're gonna be smaller, older homes. Now, if you move up a price range from $550,000 to $750,000, that whole stat flips around a bit. 82% of listings are gonna be single family homes. Now, those are probably gonna be 10 plus years old, and their average square footage is gonna be around 2,700 square feet. When you bump up one more price tier to $750,000 to $1 million, you're looking at all newer single family homes with an average size around 3,250 square feet. And finally, if you're over $1 million, you're really looking at luxury homes, which are bigger homes on bigger lots here in Apex. Okay, next we're gonna get into schools, and I wanna be really careful here because this section could easily take up the entire video. And honestly, I've made a couple videos on the Wake County Public School System, and you can check those out. Here, I'll include a link. I'll also put the link in the description, but go watch it if schools are a deciding factor for you. But here's what you need to know for Apex specifically. You're most definitely gonna hear that Wake County Public Schools are great. And broadly speaking, that's true. Apex High has strong test scores, strong graduation rates, strong AP participation. It consistently ranks in the top tier of North Carolina high schools. But the notion that schools in Apex are good is not the whole answer, and here's where it gets a little complicated. Wake County doesn't work like most school systems. You can't just find a neighborhood you love and assume that you know what school your kids are gonna go to. Is this blowing your mind? If you're not from here, it probably is. It just does not work that way here. Here's what actually matters before you make an offer on any home in Apex. Step 1, look up the school assignment for that specific address on Wake County Public School System's website, which is wcpss.net. Don't assume what school they're going to, look it up. Let me show you real quick how to find your base school. Go to wcpss.net. You're going to click on enroll. When you get to enroll, you're going to scroll until you get to base schools. You're going to click find your base school right there, that button. And then when you get to base schools, you're going to scroll down again and you are going to click on step 1, find your base school, and then you're going to click on that address lookup tool. When you get to this spot, you're going to type an address in here, and if you see just below there was a link to magnet schools, we're going to circle back to that. But once you put the address in, hit enter, you are going to see the school assignments for that particular address for both the current year and next year. Step 2, check whether that school is capped, because schools do hit capacity here, and if your assigned school is capped or at capacity, your child may be redirected to an overflow school, and that overflow school may or may not be one that you like. Step 3, understand that your assigned school is not your only option. There are magnet schools, charter schools, and application-based programs that can get your child into a school that works better for your family. Back on the website, if you click on that link for all the magnet early colleges and application schools, then type in your address again, then you will find all of the schools that you can apply to from your address. Those are going to include opposite calendar schools, magnet schools, lots of different options. Just remember, for many of these application schools, enrollment is determined by a lottery system. So just because you apply to another school does not mean you're going to get into another school. So I always remind people, be comfortable with the school you are assigned to or the overflow school you're assigned to when you purchase a house if you're planning to attend public school. All right, enough about schools, let's talk about Commute. So here's the deal, Apex is in a sweet spot. You're not in the most expensive parts of Raleigh and you're not paying carry premiums, but because of Highway 540, you've got really fast access to RTP and RDU. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to downtown Raleigh. And just want to mention one other thing, Highway 540 is a toll road. So if you're going to be making those commutes, I highly recommend you get a quick pass. You can go to ncquickpass.com and get yourself one. It will pay for itself in no time. Now, I've said this in other videos, but let me reiterate, the families I work with who come from major cities like Boston, New York, LA, Miami, they're always pleasantly surprised by what we call traffic here. It's totally manageable and nothing like those big cities. But on the other hand, people coming from more rural areas are sometimes surprised and a little bit frustrated by all the traffic. So it really is all relative. So consider that when you're thinking about traffic here in the Apex area. All right, so let's get down and dirty on the lifestyle here in Apex. This is the part that nobody can put on a spreadsheet and explain to you. This is the part that is how you're actually gonna live here, and it's also what usually makes your final decision. I'm gonna tell you what my actual Saturdays look like living in Apex, because I think that'll tell you more than any other data point. Now, keep in mind, my kids are now in college, so prior to recently, my Saturdays look like every other parent's Saturdays, which are essentially being a parental Uber and driving your kids all over town to their various sporting events, play dates, and birthday parties. But now that I'm an empty nester and I'm not driving kids around, my Saturdays probably start off with a nice walk outside somewhere like the Beaver Creek Greenway or through the streets of downtown Apex here, or the 2-mile loop around Lake Pine. There's just so many great routes for walking around Apex, and you can just mix it up and enjoy different scenery every weekend. Sometimes I walk down here to downtown and grab some breakfast at Mission Market or Foxtail Coffee or Common Grounds or Pliables. I know Pliables is a chain restaurant, but damn, those bowls are tasty. I might even hit the Apex Farmers Market, which is always fun, local produce and meats, and then some other crafty type stuff. And those happen on Saturdays right here where I'm standing. Wait, hold on, not right here. Right there. Right there, that's where that happens. After that, if the weather's nice, I might spend a little time outside. Apex Community Park has a lake and trails and batting cages, tennis courts, pickleball. Pleasant Park, for all you parents, has a splash pad called Splash Atlantis. If you have younger kids, you're probably going to be there pretty frequently in the summer. Now, if my kids were still little, we might hit the skate park right downtown. When they were building that skate park, a lot of people in town were skeptical, like, what kind of riffraff is the skate park gonna bring in? And I lived right next to the skate park in the Villages of Apex, and my girls would go down to the skate park with their little scooters during off-peak times. And honestly, Those skater kids were so nice to my girls. They always gave them a chance to get their little scootering in and never got too frustrated with them. So I'm a big fan of the skate park. Now, later on in the day, you're probably gonna find me down here in historic downtown Apex. Salem Street right here, it's the heart of it all. It's walkable, lined with locally owned restaurants and shops. And you'll probably find me at the Provincial sitting at the bar for dinner. It's my favorite Apex restaurant. Farm fresh menu, beautiful bar, such a great warm atmosphere. It's the kind of place where you stay after you eat and you just order that one more drink, you know? It's a little bit more upscale than Salem Street Pub, but I do love Salem Street Pub too, depending on the vibe I'm going for. One side of Salem Street Pub is totally sports barsy, and the other side has a warmer bourbon bar type of feel. And one thing that's kind of cool about it is it has a bar that faces the street, so you're kind of right up against the windows, and those windows can open up their garage doors. And you can do a little people watching sitting there at Salem Street Pub. Super fun when they're having any of the big events going on downtown. Another place I might hit up for some brunch is Scratch Kitchen and Tap Room, or in the evening, the owners of Scratch Kitchen have a really cool little cocktail lounge called Neat and Sweet. It has some outdoor seating as well. You can get some delicious cocktails and desserts there. I love that place as well. If you're feeling like a little bit of Mexican food, La Rancherita on the corner of Salem Street and Chatham Street is delicious. And then there's also Anna's Pizzeria if you're feeling like a little Italian. Anyway, back to my Saturday. At some point, I'm definitely gonna run into people I know. That's just how it goes in Apex. We're like a big, small town. So inevitably, you'll probably run into some people that you know. Hopefully that's something that you enjoy. After dinner, if I'm feeling like a little live music, feeling a little feisty, I might hit Peak of the Vine, which is down this way. It's a cool little wine bar, and they have live music every weekend. Now, by 10 or 10:30, this town is winding down. This is not a late night city. It's more of a family town. The median age here is around 36. And the median income is around 144,000. So this is not really your club vibe. It's more your, I like to go out to happy hour, have a good time, and be in bed by 10 kind of vibe. Maybe 10:30, maybe 11. I'm an early to bed person. You know what I'm saying. Oh wait, one more thing about downtown Apex. It's the events. The events calendar is stacked. I told you about the farmers market on the weekends. Then in downtown, we have Peak Fest every May. We have the old-fashioned 4th of July, which is parades, fireworks, a drone show. Then there's the Italian Fest. There's the Christmas parade, which is hoppin'. I think I've shown pictures on videos previously that people line up their chairs for miles overnight and no one steals them. It's a whole thing. And then actually coming up right now, we have Pig Fest, which is a big barbecue festival all here in downtown Apex. Also, I should mention that downtown Apex is currently going through a massive renovation that's only gonna make these events even better. I did a whole video about the downtown transformation with Apex Town Manager Randy Vosberg. You can check that out somewhere. Link up here. I'll also put it in the comments below. All right, let's talk a little bit about the future of Apex and Apex's growth. I mean, Apex in 2026 is a fundamentally different story than it was even just 3 years ago. I mean, let's just take a look at the numbers. Apex is growing at about 3.4% annually. The town estimates the current population to be right around 85,000. To put that in context for you, in 1990, can you guess how many people lived in Apex? If you guess 5,000, you are right. And now that is a lot of freaking growth in 35 years. Is that right, the math? 35? I think so, yeah, 1990. 36 years. What really gave me some context about that is I grew up in a tiny town in Connecticut called Harwinton that most people have never heard of, population 5,000. I looked it up, population 5,000 when I was there in the 1990s, and guess what the population is now? 5,000. So compare, like, it just gave me a real frame of reference for the fact that Apex is growing like crazy. And this is great for you if you're moving here and looking to, you know, maybe get a little appreciation on that home that you're buying. And speaking of growth, we have to talk about the massive new development happening in Apex called Viridia. Viridia is an 1,100-acre site bordered by US 1, 540, and 55. A developer by the name of RXR out of New York purchased it in 2023, and phase 1 infrastructure is actively underway right now. You can see it if you drive down 55. The full vision for Viridia includes up to 8,000 residential units, 3.5 million square feet of retail and dining, 12 million square feet of commercial space, and a new Wake Tech Community College, and the North Carolina Children's Hospital, which I'll get into more detail here in a minute. They've already broken ground on the apartments in Viridia, which are scheduled to be available starting in 2027, and the whole project is like a $10 to 12-year build out. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to interview the Executive Vice President of Residential Construction and Development at RXR, and that's Joe Graziosi. He's a really cool dude. I will link those interviews here somewhere too and put them in the comments below. Here's my honest take on Viridia. The place is massive. Now that they've cleared the land, you can really see just how massive it is. It sits a little bit south of downtown Apex, and it's kind of like its own little town being built from scratch right there on the Holly Springs Apex line. If Viridia comes together the way it's designed to come together, it'll be a really cool place for people to move to, specifically people who want that walkable, community-centered lifestyle. And a lot of people I talk to who are moving here want exactly that. So the bones are there to make it happen. The execution over the next decade will determine what it actually looks like in the end. Now let's talk a little bit about the NC Children's Hospital that will be in Viridia. In July of last year, 2025, North Carolina Children's, which is a partnership between UNC Health and Duke Health, announced that they are building North Carolina's only freestanding, independent children's hospital right here in Apex. That hospital will be within the Viridia campus. It is expected to break ground in 2027. They're projecting 8,000 jobs coming to Apex and Wake County from that project alone. These jobs bring households drive housing demand. I look at that and say, if you're buying in Apex today, you're buying ahead of some massive growth that could lead to substantial property appreciation over time. I always tell people, don't buy for the next year or two, buy for the next 5 to 10 years. I think if you do that in Apex, you're in really good shape. Before you book a single showing, here's what I would suggest. Drive to downtown Salem Street on a Saturday afternoon. Hang out, park the car, walk around, grab some lunch, talk to some people, walk past the skate park, take a drive out to Pleasant Park and see if this feels like where you want to spend your time for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And there's your answer. If you want to talk through your specific situation, book a free consultation on my website and let's chat. Drop a comment below. Are you considering Apex? Why or why not? And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can keep your finger on the pulse of everything happening in this area. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found a lot of value in this video. I'm sick of talking and I'm sure you're sick of listening. I will catch you next week. Bye.